Good morning. Looks like is my mic going on? Testing. Yeah, it looks like it is. A little late this morning, just trying to get everything set up. It does seem like my microphone is not working. We'll have to see how this goes. All right, so it's Friday, July 9th. Anyone in there? Do I sound okay right now, or does it sound kind of muffled? Okay, so Friday, July 9th. This is, let me pull this back up. Just looking around the markets right now. Yesterday we saw that crazy dump off early on with the SPY. Today looks a little bit different and in the opposite direction. So there was a gap up right at 105. So it, I tried to look around at news and everything else. I think yesterday was just kind of one of those things that happens with the market. And this is what I'm referring to, where things kind of they try to shake people off, make it seem like maybe there's a sell-off for some specific reason. Um, Everything came down at 105 yesterday, and most stocks kind of rallied back for the most part early on in the day. Some went really green. Some didn't really finish as well. Still did, like I think Clove might have made it back. We'll go over each chart in a second, but still ended up finishing down on the day. But today we saw a gap up in the SPY. Interested to see how that plays out. And it looks like a lot of the other stocks kind of followed suit, right around the same time. This is early on here for Gamestop at 120. Saw a nice spike. Looking back, here's Clove, 105, saw a nice spike. And what else do I have up here right now? ATOS, not as much. So, interesting to see how that plays out. Good morning, everybody who's just joining in. Let me see. I'm just trying to get my chart set up right now. Every time I restart my computer and get back into Webull, it seems like, not even just Webull, Ecamm, all the different programs that I'm using, I got to kind of relay everything out. It's just getting used to it. So let's start from the top. I'll just kind of go through the different stocks that I'm watching. BNGO, been having some pretty decent announcements, but no real movement in the stock. Yesterday during that sell-off early on in the pre-market, it did dip as low as 584. It was a really big gainer. As the day went on, it hit as high as 660, and I want to say it was up maybe 7%, but it finished the day up right around 4.29%, and it is moving again in pre-market. Again, no real news other than I think a couple days ago there was a news article out that they were referenced in two medical journals or peer-reviewed journals about their genome mapping, and but so a lot of times with BNGO, at least, I've seen that they drop this news, 2-3 times a week. They'll put stuff out there, and sometimes they'll hit and just be little mini catalysts. So this is still something that I'm expecting to kind of get moving here at some point. Just taking a look at the daily chart. I've been trading flat now, or kind of, I guess consolidating still for a while off this huge run up back in January. It did look to kind of start reversing, but it just fell lower over the last week. So I'm in for the long haul on this play, and I'm not too worried about it. That's why I don't usually talk about it as much. AVXL is one. Again, no like major announcements or anything, but coming off the gap down yesterday morning in pre-market, it came out yesterday strong, ended up getting up all the way to 25.90. Gain on the day, and then this morning it's up another 3%. It hit as high as 27.50 about 10 minutes ago. So that's one I'm going to be keeping my eye on today. I know that I think Kramer mentioned it in his whatever that show is that he does yesterday. He kind of mentioned that this was a stock that people should be buying into. Sometimes that has a positive effect. I don't really watch his show or anything, but I know sometimes he does have an audience, and when he speaks to them, they listen. So interested to see how AVXL turns out today. ATOS, we'll look at the option chain later. I don't really want to get into the option chain yet because I already know it's not going to be updated until the market opens. And this is one that I was on just for, specifically for a gamma squeeze play. It did close flat yesterday, off that drop down to 514. It closed right at 555, which is exactly where it closed at the day before. But it is up in pre-market right now, hit as high as $6. It looks like off that somewhere around 3 a.m. and right now it's trading at 580. This is one when we checked yesterday still had major potential for a gamma squeeze. Again, there hasn't been any major announcements other than I think a couple of days ago we saw that kind of like a 50-50. We saw that an insider had sold some shares, which would normally be a bearish sentiment, but then at the same time they announced that they got approval to start some COVID testing in phase 1 of their COVID. All right, yeah, Nolan, Mad Money, that's the one. Yeah, I just saw your thing in the chat for the Kramer thing. Yeah, I don't watch it, but I do know that he mentioned it. A buddy of mine actually sent me a clip, that he was talking about AVXL yesterday. So I'm just interested to see how that plays out today. So again, I'm just going to put down on my notes to go look at ATOS's options. Let me see. Yeah, it still hasn't updated yet, but as of yesterday, I know we took a look at this, yesterday morning. Nothing's changed other than the volume over here, so we'll have to see how this plays out. But 33,000, 59,000, 56, it's still there. Oh wow, I didn't even know that was. I just seen SRT Mush did a super sticker. I have no idea how that works. Let me see this. So as you guys know that have been following me, I just did the hit 1,000 on Monday. And so I've been playing around with the settings in my YouTube channel, and I didn't even realize that I clicked the button on that. I didn't know it turned on. I'd have to go. I'm interested to go back and kind of watch and see how that looks from the viewers end. But right on, man. Thank you. I appreciate it, and thank you for all the help too. I don't know if anyone was watching the stream yesterday, but I had asked SRT because he has his own channel, and just for like some help, or maybe if we could chat offline. And I mean, you sent me a lot more information than I was expecting, but I read it, I reread it, kind of went through, and I've been playing with the settings on my YouTube channel, and I appreciate all the support. Really, thank you. So where was I at? Daily. Oh no, options on ATOS. So this was a gamma squeeze play. It still is. I had a buddy of mine text me like, "Hey, what's going on with ATOS? Are we selling? Are we doing this?" And I was like, "Man, when I got in this play, this was purely, I put a couple $100 in, and I'm not looking back. It's something's going to happen by July 16th, or it's not. That's kind of my mindset with this. It's more of a bet. I'm going to hold these options until Friday, until they expire, unless there's a gamma squeeze before then. But because the potential, as long as the potential's there for it, I want to be in on this play because this is ridiculous considering the size of their float. So we'll go back to that. I know that ATOS has also been kind of getting hit by short sellers, especially after the recent run-up. So just to take a look at their Vortex data, 21% short interest, 25% of the free float on loan. This is yesterday's information. 30 million shares on loan. So, and their float is pretty small, and I keep relating to Clove because that's a stock that I'm always talking about. But I think their float right now is 100 million ATOS, and so 30 million shares on loan is quite significant. Cost to borrow isn't as high as like Clove is in the 20 or 30 range, but 6 is still pretty high, and we're looking like we're getting more shares borrowed today, and that range seems pretty consistent. 5 on the low, 8 high, 6 average. All right. So let me go back over here real quick just to take a look for all right. Yeah, Clove looks like it's having a little bit of a strong pre-market. So Gamestop trading at 192. Yesterday on the drop off came down to 177. Did go up and hit a high of 194 and found some resistance at 195. Trading kind of back up right now at 192. If we take a look at the daily chart on that, man, I'm still holding. I'm not doing nothing with my GameStop. I'm still holding out, but this has been a rough couple, almost month for me, just because if you've been on here before, I was talking about how I don't, not paper handed isn't the word, and I don't know if diamond hand should be it either with options, but on this run up, it's like I had some options calls, outside of my shares that I was playing just to kind of like day trade with or swing trade with, and I really should have sold those, and I held on to them, and they expired pretty much worthless when at one point they were worth, I don't even remember anymore, but I think almost like 8,000 per contract. And then we're trading down at 190 now, but I'm still kind of holding out. I mean, they've been announcing a lot of positive news over this last month, and most recently, opening up that facility in Reno, and next week is that July 14th date where something may be happening with their crypto. So we'll see, NFT token. So we'll see what happens there. We already went over the 5 minute on that. So we'll get to Clove. Let's see here. Like I said, got a nice pop at 105 when kind of the SPY and everything else kind of jumped up. In terms of yesterday, it didn't really pull back up like everything else. It had closed the previous day at 967. We saw a lot of these other stocks get up and get back to break even throughout the day. And, while Clover looked like it was getting there, it got hammered back down again. This stock is really heavily manipulated. We did close intraday higher. If you could find a bright spot in there, I think we opened the day at 919, and we closed the day at 938. So I guess that would be the one positive out of that. Also, we keep. I know I made that video last night. If nobody watched it, but there hadn't been any reports of insiders selling at all. Yet. And then I think later on, after I made the video, there was an SEC filing by Green Oaks. And my understanding of it is that they now remember they own somewhere around 96 million shares. Somewhere I could be a little off on that number, but it's in the 90 million range. And basically, they filed that they were going to convert over to the Class A and have their shares ready for sale, that sort of thing. But they didn't sell any yet. Okay, so they converted the shares over to Class A, but they didn't actually sell the shares. So my speculation is, one, I guess from their standpoint, investor standpoint, institution, I'm surprised they didn't convert more over, just because, you would want to have those shares ready. It makes, I guess you get more voting rights with the Class B, but with the Class A, it would give you the ability to sell the shares if whenever you wanted to. Obviously, being that big of an institutional investor, they still have to do SEC filings when they want to actually sell, but it puts you in position to sell. So, which is smart by them too, because let's say a squeeze comes, right? When the squeeze happens, now if they have their shares sitting there and they're ready to get rid of them, they can profit a little bit off of it. So, I think the important thing is one, they did retain, more than 70% of their investment in Class B, and that to me that shows that they're bullish on the stock. And the next thing would be that they didn't actually sell yet. They just kind of got it. They're getting it ready to. And I mean, who wouldn't? I know, GameStop took advantage of their squeezes by issuing shares and actually diluting the float by not much though. I think 5 million in each offering, but they were able to raise 2 billion in capital during that. So, if this stock gets upwards of $100, $200, up some crazy numbers, um, Green Oaks could stand to make quite a bit of money. So, and the fact that they only converted over 20 million out of their 90 million, or 21 out of their 96, or whatever the exact number is, to me, it's less than 70% of what they have. Sorry, they retained at least 70% Class B, so it was less than like 30-25% of their total holdings. I think that's a bullish sign. It looks like I haven't really got to the chat yet, but it looks like someone said something about expanding their management team, and I just saw that news pop up here too. So let me pull that up. And I'll skim over this too because I'm just seeing this right now. So Clover Health expands management team, appointing Prabdeep Singh as Chief Growth Officer and Justin Joseph as Chief Strategy and Development Officer. So we saw, I think I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think last month they announced a marketing officer or a commercial officer. It was either a CCO or CMO, something like that. So it seems like they're, continuing to expand their management team. Sorry. The article's not long, or is it? I don't know if you guys want to hear me sit here and read an article out loud. I guess I could. We got like 19 minutes for anyone who's maybe just listening. So it says here today, Clover Health, an innovative technology company committed to improving health equity for America's underserved seniors, announced the hiring of two key leaders, Prabdeep Singh as Chief Growth Officer and Justin Joseph as Chief Strategy and Development Officer. A former executive at WeWork and Uber, Singh will lead Clover's member growth and expansion of service areas. Okay. Um, Most recently at WeWork's Executive Vice President and Global Head of Marketplace, he was responsible for building and leading the company's strategy for its digital platform and emerging products and services. Prior to this, Mr. Singh was a general manager at Uber Eats, where he helped transform and scale it from a concept to a multi-billion-dollar business. Specifically, he developed and led the Uber Eats enterprise business and strategy focused on acquiring, growing, and managing some of the largest restaurant partners in the world, which has helped him develop deep experience in driving growth and expansion. Technology has deeply transformed every industry from food and transportation to the way we work. I joined CLOV because I believe their tech-driven approach will transform and improve the way people receive great health care by removing barriers and making access as simple as possible. It's really exciting company, and I would look forward to supporting the drive to improve health equity by bringing high-quality care to more people across the country. Justin Joseph joins CLOV from Palantir, where he worked on commercial strategy, driving global business development across healthcare, across the healthcare medical device, like life sciences, and emerging digital health sectors. Prior to Palantir, Mr. Joseph spent 15 years at, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, Deloitte, where he led global client engagements with leading Fortune 500 companies, spanning strategy, M&A, and transformation programs. As Clover's Chief Strategy and Development Officer, he would leverage his experience bridging healthcare and technology to drive strategic partnerships and internal transformation. Let me see. I'm just going to kind of skip through. The two leaders joined Clove on the heels of the company announcing plans to expand service coverage on 101 new counties across the country, subject to CMS approval. Individuals eligible for Medicare in these new counties can sign up for Clover's plans during this year's annual election period, with coverage beginning on January 1st. And then it's just a little bit about the company. So, pretty good news. I know that one, just looking at the companies that they're coming from, it seems like they're making the right hires, and they're getting people from successful companies that just saw substantial growth. That's just like my kind of just right off the bat assessment. I know, and I kind of bring this back and relate it to GameStop. In the team that they're building, and it seems like the names that they were bringing in were coming from successful companies, successful tech companies, and that seems to be where tech and e-commerce, and that's where GameStop's pivoting. With Clove, they're trying to expand right now, right? They just doubled their geographic footprint, and getting guys from companies that have just witnessed great growth and expansion, and I think we'll see what happens here, but to me that seems like very positive news. We'll see how the market reacts to it. With the way this stock has been and what I've seen with a lot of these other stocks that GameStop, I'll keep referencing. You get great news, you get a good catalyst, and you don't see the results in the stock market. At least not the day of. It seems like shorts try to hit you even harder on those days to make it more demoralizing. But we just got to hold strong. I mean, nothing's changed negatively with this company fundamentally, in terms of me saying this is a great long-term investment. Trading at 967 right now, you could double or triple your money just based off, what the company's value is, what it should be trading off right now. And then we just got some more positive news, that these guys are probably going to be helping with the expansion and growth of the company. So I'm excited. I'm excited about Clove, regardless of a squeeze. I think this company has great long-term potential. Since we're still on the subject of Clove, let's take a look at some Ortex data real quick. So yesterday, shares on loan, 53.8. We didn't really see a huge net change. Early on in the day we did, and it looks like some shares were being returned. I think there was maybe a net difference at the end of the day of about 200,000. If I'm wrong, someone throw it in the chat, and I'll double check on that. Cost to borrow average is 29 as of this morning. Looking down at the difference so far, there was a net difference of 1.14 million shares borrowed so far this morning. But that cost to borrow is still between 21 and 34 with an average of 29. So, looking still looking like a decent short squeeze play. I know this was a number that was concerning a lot of people yesterday, the 2 million shares, and I can't. One they've already been reborrowed out, so down to 400,000 this morning. 28 is still the borrow fee, but the one thing that I wanted to point out, we're getting data from multiple sources, right? So if you're just using iBorrowDesk, which I think is a good indicator, and it's free, so it's a great tool. But you just have to remember that it's only one broker. And so you can kind of maybe think, okay, well, if this broker has 2 million available, maybe they all do. Maybe a lot of them were getting returned shares. And I understand that thought process. But then we have access to Ortex data, which is pulling from multiple brokers. And if we look here, they're still showing, 53.8 million shares on loan, plus another 1.1 today, which is going to put us somewhere around 55 million. So the shorts haven't covered yet. I guess that's what I was getting at with that. I'm going to see if the options chain updated, and then actually we'll get into that once the market opens. Let me catch up on this chat now. Sorry. I always like to get through kind of what around the horn, like go around the market and look at everything. The two I didn't talk about at all, and that I'm not in, but just to kind of see where they're at. So SPCE space Virgin Galactic is down 1.5%. At this point, if anybody did get in on it already, good for you. I'm jealous. Um, I'm not going to open up a position today, even though I do feel like uh, this thing's really going to blow on Monday. I say that I might end up opening a position, but I'm going to be on the road right after this today, so I'm going to be gone, and my phone's probably not going to be getting service, and so. Um, but yesterday, if you bought here, I know a couple people said in the chat that they did. I was talking about it. I pulled up the option chain. I was like, yeah, I'd probably buy like right at the money, right here at 43, 44, and then it just absolutely ripped, and I never got in. Hit as high as I think like 52. Went up to 54.86 today in pre-market. It's trading at 51 right now. God, and I really think if they have a successful test flight on Sunday and Branson comes back alive, they're that stock's gonna absolutely rock it up on Monday. That's what I'm expecting at least. But I'll continue to sit here and cover it. I don't really have the capital. I'm not going to sell any of my Clove to jump into something else. I'm not going to sell. I feel strongly about the plays that I'm in right now, or the amount that I have in like an ATOS or an AVXL isn't enough to like sell and be able to really, get in on space. So I'm just kind of stuck sitting on my hands. AMC looked like it was getting some movement early on too. Saw a nice spike at 50 or right before 505, ran back up to 50. Interested to see what happens there. I mean, AMC was the big loser early on yesterday. When everything gapped down, it looked like all the memes or popular stocks were down about 5%. AMC was down 10, and then it turned into the big gainer. At one point, it was up over 10%. So, this stock still has legs in it. It's still got the retail momentum. It's just too scary of an entry point for me. There's been days where I've been able to just like maybe throw in and buy a call contract, and that's about all I'm willing to do right now because while I do believe it could go higher, I just don't want to be sitting on shares at $48 because I think at some point this company will fall back down to 10. Now that could be after it runs up and hits 500 or some crazy number, or it could be tomorrow, and I don't want to be sitting there holding shares. At least not at that cost basis. I mean, I got friends who bought in at $7, $8. They can care less. They'll hold at 48. And I understand that. Sorry. Let me get to the chats now. Good morning, Nolan. Clark, my bad, man. I don't know. I ended up signing off yesterday. I don't know if you saw. I was so I'm a mod in Tar Heels chat, and we got the market open too. So we'll watch this while I apologize to Clark. So I'm a mod in Tar Heels chat for his power hour, and I was watching on my phone while I was cooking in the kitchen, and I tried to like pull my phone up, and when I was swiping, I guess I like either removed you from the chat or blocked you from the chat. I did something, and then I saw it, and I'm like, oh man, I deleted your comment. I went back. I was trying to figure it out on my phone, and then I put in the chat like, hey Clark, I'm sorry. But I don't know if you saw it because I ended up, like I said, I was on my phone and I was just listening with my headphones. So I wasn't paying attention to the chat after that to see if you actually. I'm just fixing all my screens real quick. Sorry, but yeah. Good morning, Clark. Thanks for joining. I thought you hated me. Now you weren't going to come in here. I know Justin. I know that's a late comment. I'm not getting to this right away, but right now the volume on Clove is 1.4 million. Michael, good morning. Thanks for coming back. Co-creators in the house. Again, anyone who came in late, SRT, thanks for all the help with the YouTube channel and helping me out, offline. And also showing me that there's a super chat in here. I didn't even realize that. I've been playing with my settings and I didn't even realize that. But thank you very much, and I appreciate that. Jason, thank you. Good morning. I'm expecting maybe we'll have a green day today. Okay, Nolan, I'm late. I'm looking at some of this. Let's see. Co-creator says Fridays are always more volatile. Why? I think, you know, a couple reasons. One, some people like to pull their money out of the market, you know, over the weekend sometimes. But I think more specifically is options expiration. You know, you have, you know, there's those max pain points across the market, and you know, even with your you know, boomer stocks or blue chip stocks and stocks that are usually, you know, a little bit more or less volatile. You know, I think you know, you're gonna have people that are fighting to push a stock up to a certain strike price on a Friday, and also people who are trying to, you know, get it down below there. He says they're more volatile because they got to make their extra spending money for the weekend. Uh, Calls on the meme stocks are almost not worth it. Yeah, I agree with you. You know, it's like catching lightning in a bottle. You know, I've lost a lot on calls, and then I've hit on some big ones too. You know, occasionally if there's like some sort of potential catalyst or like, you know, the one that I really made out on was on AMC's last run up to 72. It was just looking at the charts and everything, and just the popularity was coming back into the meme stocks. You can kind of see the sentiment on Reddit. Um, and that morning, right before everything took off, I had bought calls. This is what, like 3 weeks ago. I think I maybe got like 5 calls on AMC, but so that kind of put me in there for that run up to 72. And you know, I always usually I like to keep some dry powder. The problem is I spent it all on Clove recently, but I like to have some dry powder laying around so that I can just jump in on some plays like that. Like yesterday, I would have jumped in on Space when I was talking about it. Um, you know, so once this plays over, or maybe if I'm able to cash out on this ATOS gamma squeeze, or if AVXL keeps running, or you know, something like that, and I get that dry powder out, I'll start calling out some more of those plays in the mornings. You know, when I see them. Now that we are doing the live stream, um, I'm way behind. I know this chat has to do with me talking about the green oak, so I'm just going to skip over it. Um, Target short seller says these are two big fish. Again, hey, you know, I thank you for the support. And anybody who's in here, I keep saying it. Go check out his YouTube channel. It's Target Short Sellers (TSS). He's got some he's also covering Clove, and got some pretty good information, great insight on there. I've been watching your videos. I'm really enjoying them. Also, while I'm at it and talking about it as I'm getting through the chat, my boy Tar Heel today is doing. He's been doing the Power Hour. Took it over this week, so that's every day. But today is Stock Tales on Friday. Unfortunately, I won't be in the chat today to accidentally kick anybody out. But I'm gonna try. I will be watching the replay, and he's gonna have you know, Wall Street Bet Degenerate in there as well, who's a you know another guy who's big in Clove, really big on Twitter. So they'll both be on today on Tar Heel's channel. Check that one out, and make sure you also go support all the Clove YouTubers. We are going to do a roundtable again on Sunday, 4 p.m. my time, so 4 p.m. Pacific. But on this channel, we're going to do a roundtable, and this time Tar Heel will be back on again, along with Al Trade and Dutch Trade. So there might be somebody else too. I'm not sure. I got to go back in and look at that. But there will at least be 4 of us. Should be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll when we get near the end of it, we'll set some sort of bar for Tar Heel to reach so that he can slam another White Claw. But we'll get there again. Let's see. TSS says Alberta INV Management Company, self-described as a long-term investor, now has increased position of 400,000 shares from previous 13 F files of 150 shares. Right on. You know, that's what I expected too. Was just not necessarily them, but you know, me and Tar Heel talked about this on Sunday night during that or Monday night during that last roundtable. That you know, this week we were expecting the kind of the FUD, the media campaign put out by the short sellers to basically be that, you know, oh look, insiders are dumping this stock when really it was them just hammering the stock down and manipulating it, but then putting out the stories about how insiders are able to sell on Tuesday. And once we get past that and people see that nobody sold, which that's starting to come out now, like yesterday, we didn't see any of those filings on the SEC website showing that anybody sold. And, I trust what you're saying here that we saw one long term investor, one institution actually, it looks like more than doubled their position in Clove. And we saw that, a big player like Green Oaks didn't dump their position. They only converted 25% of their Class Bs over, probably getting ready to dump on a short squeeze, which I'm perfectly fine with. Everybody should make money off that. Um, but I think once this news gets out, if they actually report on it and put it out there, I think you're going to see a lot of more people coming back in. They're going to see that this was hedge fund manipulation, and they're going to see, and they're going to see that no one dumped their shares, that insiders are still bullish on their stock and they're still holding. So I think we'll start to see that turnaround soon too in terms of market sentiment. Um, there was a Reddit Uber driver who took a guy to Citadel at 8 p.m. yesterday. There was some positive interaction. 8 p.m. kind of late for a workday. Yeah, yeah, I know. I've been seeing a lot of those posts on like Super Stonk. They got guys that are out there, taking pictures of Citadel with the lights on at 12 in the morning, 1 in the morning. Working long hours right now, I guess. CCXI midterm farming. I'm gonna write that down, and I don't know if that's like one of those ones that's blowing up right now, um, or if you're just saying that's something to look into for the future. I really, at some point, I know I've mentioned them before, but when it comes to like all these pharmaceutical plays, so it looks like they had a kind of a, yeah, I wrote that one down. And you know what I will do, Chef, is my buddy, Colin. Um, I know I've talked about him on here before, and he was supposed to come on and do the video for AVXL with me and really talk about kind of the fundamentals of the company. And he tends to know a lot about this sector. He's really strong in this sector, and I've been trying to at some point here. I'm going to get him to come on here and maybe even spend a day on here, once a week or every, kind of like how Tar Heel's been doing on Mondays, and that way we can kind of get some perspective on a lot of this, these pharmaceutical plays, because there's a lot of money to be made in them, especially if you can time them right and get in at the right time. He's the one that kind of put me up on BNGO and AVXL on their big run ups, and and then I kind of learned about the companies from there. Obviously no one can be up on every single stock, but I'll look into that one, and then I'll also ask him about it too and see if he's heard about it at all. I'm still catching up on the chat. Sorry guys, and then I'll try to stay on top of it. Be great to see some green clove today. Absolutely. SRT says the space dip might be time to buy some calls. Yeah, I let me see. I'm just gonna pull up the option chain, but as I'm looking around right now, in order for me to get into space right now, I would have to dump something else, and I really don't have anything that I'm willing to get rid of. Um, let's see. Yeah, those aren't worth anything. I have some old calls that I bought on something else. Um, yeah, I'll pull up the option chain for you guys right now and take a look at it. I think space is one that I'm going to have to sit out this ride. Um, but You know, we talked about this. I've mentioned this before too. That sometimes, you know, like I don't want to. I feel strongly about the plays I'm in. I don't want to sell any of my stock to get in on a different play. You know, unless it seems like something just insane. And I do kind of feel like you know, space can have some insane movement. I'll probably be jealous of everybody on. Uh, I mean, I'll be happy for everyone too, but you know, I'll be kicking myself that I didn't have any dry powder to get in on this. But you know, again, I had mentioned this yesterday. I wouldn't go July 9th. We'd be looking at July 16th. I think that options on space is better than shares, and the reason I say this is, you know, if you buy space right now, 100 shares, you're looking at spending $4,900. Um, you know, on something that you have to be very careful with because for two reasons. One, if the launch isn't successful, or let's just say the launch just gets postponed due to weather or anything else, you're going to see the stock probably tumble on Monday. And then the second thing is sometimes, you know, the news is already priced in. So you might see a big pre-market on Monday, and then all of a sudden that market open. It's just like anything else where, you know, a company comes out with great news and the stock just gets hammered down. But I really do think that there's a lot of good sentiment in this stock right now. It's been one of the more popular ones on Reddit. It seems like there's a lot of momentum behind it. So I would imagine if everything goes well on Sunday, I do think this stock is going to roll. But I guess what I was getting at is if you bought 100 shares right now, you're spending $5,000. And if one of those negative things happens, that's a lot of money to put out there on something that, you know, space travel, sending somebody into space and all that kind of stuff. I mean, anything could go wrong and ruin this play for you. And it really is a 1 week play. So what I would be looking at right now is calls at the money. So, you know, depending, and I kind of brought this up yesterday. If you have $1,000 that you want to spend on this, get in here and buy two $500 calls. If you have 700 you want to spend, maybe buy one call right at the money. You know, but I think anywhere right around here, you know, like at the money ish, it's going to give you dollar for dollar movement. So, and what I mean by that is, if all of a sudden Monday morning the stock's trading at $60, you're going to get the same type of profit that you would if you bought 100 shares or close to it. So, you know, if you bought this $50 call right now for $700, and Monday morning the stock gets up to 60, you're going to make at least $1,000 off that trade, the same way you would if you would have laid down $5,000. Yes, if it goes down, that $700 is absolutely gone. But if it goes down to $20 because the rocket crashed or something like that, you're only going to lose 700 instead of losing, you know, $3,000. And I do think that whatever type of movement happens with space is probably going to happen in pre-market on Monday. Um, that's just my assumption, or it'll start in pre-market. So if it is a drop, you're going to get tied up in pre-market where you probably won't be able to get out regardless. So that's why I think this is definitely an options play. Um, you know, you can also throw in on some of these cheap ones and just ride the momentum. But if you go with some of these, you know, cheap ones at the top, $42, $44, $56, just be careful that you don't hold them all week, right? Because if the stock doesn't reach 125, you're going to expire worthless next Friday. So the way to play these kind of FDs are, you know, top of the option chain is basically you would buy this for $45. Let's say the launch is successful. Monday, the stock rips upwards of like $90. Don't hold it. Don't hold it to expiration thinking we're going to go to 125. I've lost so much like that before. So what I would do is, as this thing, let's just say hypothetically, the stock runs up, you know, 100%, 45 or 50, you know, 90% or whatever, and hits about $100. I mean, at that point, with IV and everything else, your $43 contract would probably end up being worth somewhere around, you know, $1,000. I mean, and that's a huge gain. You know, it'll probably get up there to upwards of 10 on Monday, on Tuesday, and that's why you want to sell it, because every day that goes by as we get closer to Friday now, next Friday, this contract is going to go back to 41 cents and eventually to zero if the stock isn't trading above 125. So just be careful with that one. But yeah, I think SRT is absolutely right. This would be an opportunity to jump in and maybe get on that dip for space, because I don't know. I'm having FOMO. I think they're gonna have a. I mean, you got Branson's willing to get on that rocket. I think it's gonna be successful. He's gonna beat Jeff Bezos to space, and I just think Monday the stock's gonna go wild. Chef Daddy, sorry man, I wasn't meaning to ignore you. Carve. I know someone yelled out Carve. God, 79%, and they had they're up huge, right? Oh yeah. So I remember this yesterday. We looked at it and it was way up here, and then it came down, and now it's back up again. You know, I don't know. I don't know anything about this stock at all, other than some of you guys are making money off it, and I'm happy for you. Um, that's what I'm hoping to do with like this ATOS play, or one of these other small ones I'm in, is get a little extra spending cash to dump back into my Gamestop and my Clove positions, and eventually keep building on my BNGO position. Um, but you know, we'll see. I talked about this a little bit yesterday and the day before. I get bored, just holding my Clove and holding my GameStop. So I got to keep like 10%, 20% of my account, to get into other plays and hopefully make a little extra cash to continue to build onto my position. Um, it helps me not stay bored in the market, and be able to sit here, because some of these days are hard to watch. Um, well, I'm sure everybody knows who's been watching, if you've been following Clover GameStop recently. But we've been trading downwards. Nothing's changed on the stock though. It's still a fundamentally sound stock. We're getting hammered down. We're seeing negative days, red days, with absolutely no negative news behind it to support it. So, you know, I'm holding strong still. I still believe in my original thesis and why I got into this stock, and that this stock should be trading for 20, $30 right now. Like tomorrow, like next month, like in the short term, this is a $20, $30 stock based on fundamentals. Um, and it's so, I mean, what other stock can you get in right now that has the ability to fundamentally double or triple now, not in the future, and has the short squeeze potential that Clove has? I think this is a great entry point. I was saying this last week at $13. I think $9 is a great entry point on Clove right now. And again, I'm not saying that it's going to squeeze higher than any other plays. I'm not saying it's going to squeeze first, but these shorts are going to have to buy out of this stock. With 55 million shares on loan relative to their float size, um, yeah, I mean, this is probably the best entry point for a squeeze play that you're going to find in the market. That's my opinion. Um, where you're not going to be a bag holder, and where you're probably guaranteed to double or triple your money without a squeeze. Again, that's my opinion. This isn't financial advice. That's just the way I see things. Quick update. Oh, sorry, Jason. Yeah, I'll get the Vortex on car for you just to see. I'm interested to just see what's going on with it too. Um, all right. So it looks like. Anyone know what their float size is? I'll try to pull that up too real quick. Looks like free float is 36 million. Oh no, 957,000. Damn, 19 million volume today? Yeah. I screwed this up too. I lost that. I know there's a way to do this a different way, but there we go. Pull this over. I don't know why that's open. Yeah, that is a ridiculously low float stock. And that no wonder. I mean, I can see the. I used to like target low float stocks, you know, on little 1 day runs and rips and things like that. And I mean, you could get a lot of movement out of stuff like that. So shares on loan 718,000. Estimated short interest is 53. And again, I'm just gonna pull this up to make sure. So it says that the free float is 100, basically a million. So with 718,000 shares on loan, that's pretty crazy in relation to the free float. That would seem like, oh yeah, I guess 66%. All right, and it's right in front of me. Okay, so high short interest, high percent of free float on loan. Utilization is kind of low, you know, at 9. But then if you look at today, a net borrow change of 15,000. Cost to borrow anywhere from 12 to 259. Yeah, looks like a pretty strong squeeze play. How long do you think will Clove pop or do a reversal? Soon? You know, it's really hard to say. Um, I mean, you know, optimistically, I think next week should be green. I mean, we've been trading. You know, let me see. Let me pull this up. Wow, my computer. I don't know if this is my computer or what this is, but am I lagging right now? Or it just doesn't want to show me my daily chart. Clove. There we go. All right. I mean, I think everyone's well aware that we have seen a lot of red here over the last month since the big run up. And we are kind of getting down to where like this 2020, um, you know, kind of support was like in this $9 range is where it was trading kind of all like, you know, last year. I'm hoping this is the bottom, you know, that we'll kind of find support here at 9. And if we do, then yeah, I would say we turn around here and maybe start to reverse. But you know, RSI right now is very low. We're you know getting near that oversold territory. Um, you know, and just looking at you know the MACD, which we're still trading in the red. But you know, I know if you take a look at this on other charts, you know the hourly RSI is a little higher. MACD is looking stronger still. 4 hours one that I know Tar Heel likes to look at, just to look at the indicators. I'm not going to draw lines right now, but you know still in the oversold. But it looks like the MACD just crossed over on the 4 hour. So that's a plus. You know that could maybe see that we're gonna if that trend could stick, maybe we're starting to see a trend reversal. But I think with these squeeze plays and you know just in general with the play like Clove, you know what do I think? I think next week we could see green, but at the end of the day, even if we don't, and I know this is hard to stomach sometimes, but this is a long-term investment. You know, this is one that you know, without the squeeze potential, you could probably just buy and just turn it off and walk away. You know, and check on it once a month. And this is something that you know this company, and I keep saying that you know that $20 to $30 range where the stock should be trading at, triple from where it's at right now. But I think on top of that, where it could go, you know, in the future with the Clover Assistant and you know shit, even just the new recent hires that they made today, executives and the expansion at this company, they just doubled their geographic footprint less than a month ago, and they're making the right hires and bringing on, building on their team. I would imagine that, I think right now they're in 13 states. I keep saying that number. I don't know if I'm wrong on that number. Someone throw it in the chat. But regardless, they have a lot of room for growth. I think they're only operating in like 209 counties throughout the entire United States. Um, so, I think, this is a long term hold regardless. I bought options for December 17th. What's your strike? Just out of curiosity. Um, and I do think that before December, we will see absolutely some sort of day where you could probably get out of those calls at a profit. I don't know what your strike price is, but I mean, even if you had a $40 strike and we don't hit 40 by December, I would still imagine that we would see some sort of run up to 20 or 30, and you'd be able to sell those options at a nice price. That's my speculation. I mean, I think that could I guess the good thing is with something like Clove 2, high short interest, high cost to borrow. It could pop at any day now. I mean, it could be today. All it really takes is one person that cost to borrow being too expensive for them, and they come in and cover their position. That drives the price up. Volume is extremely lower than it's been recently because a lot of people, my speculation, a lot of people are buying and holding. And so if one institutional investor or hedge fund or someone who's heavily short this stock and that cost to borrow becomes too expensive for them and they have to get out, that's what kicks it off, right? They come in and buy, volume is low, it's going to make the stock go higher. Um, and then you're going to end up with FOMO buyers running in and piling onto the stock, and that's just going to drive the price up even more. And then you're going to have more and more people having to cover this stock and buy back and drive it higher and higher. So the cost to borrow being, on average around 26 right now works in our favor, and I think makes it so that at any single day this could kick off. And that's why, like looking at the charts and all that, it's fun, and I enjoy doing it. I'm going to do it regardless. I think I'm just a degenerate in that nature. Like I can't stay away. I have to be looking at the charts constantly. But I really think that it could happen any day. But like GameStop has been running on for 6 months now, and just it goes on these waves. It gets up high, and when it comes down to a new floor, AMC's been doing the same thing. Just a kind of a slow, drawn out squeeze. And so what happens is every time it goes up, then it falls back down, but it finds a new base, a new floor. With us this time, I thought that new floor when we were kind of trading right around here was right around $12, but it seems like we're still finding that floor, and maybe it's 9. The previous floor was somewhere around 6. So if we settle in at 9, and then we go on like another little run up, and maybe on this next run up we get upwards of 35, 40. Then maybe when we come down, we finally bottom out at 15, and then we go up. I could see it happening like that in waves too, because that's how GameStop and AMC have played out. And um, I think more so than any of the other squeeze plays on the market, I feel like Clove is kind of in the big three now. GameStop was the original, and I still think, and I know some people may argue with me on that, but I still think GameStop is the big one. And AMC is right up there with it, and AMC has a bigger following than GameStop right now, and probably of all time in terms of the sheer number of investors. But I think Clove is number 3, and I think it's being mentioned as number 3 in the media now. I think Clove has the third largest subreddit, in terms of stock plays, and so it may be that we end up trading like they did, where you just got to be a long-term holder and ride those waves and continue to hold and let it go up, and then hold on those hold that line and let the floor continue to rise, because then eventually when the squeeze does happen, if we kick off the squeeze from a higher floor, it's going to give us a higher dollar amount when it happens. Um, that's my take on it. Oh, let me see. I lost you. Originally bought July 2nd, $15 calls, but I had a feeling this was going to happen, so I sold and got December 17th. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to play options instead of shares, I would say, the further out, the better. In December, I would say you're pretty good. I mean, obviously, I could be wrong, but with December $19 calls, I think $19 strikes, I think you'll be okay. I think we're definitely going to see some sort of pop or run up between now and probably the August 20th expiration date. Next week could be huge with a lot of open interest on the option chain. But we also have all those other calls in between. And then August 20th is going to be another big date. And I think somewhere in between there, we're going to get our next run up. Could that be the official run up and the squeeze? Yes. Or it could be like the last one where we go up and then we come down and find a new floor. But like co-creator said, no man knoweth the day or time. Absolutely. Target short sellers, large print on Clove, 174,000 at 953. That's a pretty big buy. $1.6 million worth. Right on. Does it say the time on there? At 6:30. Oh, so that's right at the open. Okay. I'm used to reading East Coast time now, in my own time zone. So I see that 9:30 there, and I read it at 6:30. So somewhere in here, someone came in and bought 174,000 shares. That, and I think what we're gonna see is, as people are hoping to see this, not us, but I guess people who are short the stock or hating on the stock, they're waiting to get this information on, who sold, so they can, like, oh, look, this person sold, that person sold. But I think what we're going to continue to see is, no, institutions either came in and doubled down on their positions, or came in and got in on the investment. Co-creator, you haven't bought enough Clove until you have friends and family calling you crazy or stupid. That's funny. But yeah, I mean, I got there even with the Gamestop, at some point where it's like you're talking about it and telling people about it. People start calling you crazy. And then that's when it starts to pop, right? And then they're calling you asking you if you sold. Josh says, right now we're at the dump stage, like when AMC went to 4 to 20 and went down to 8-10 range. So we're just going to consolidate till then. Yeah, you're going to have people taking profits. You're going to have people that, made money on the initial run up, and maybe they're getting scared that it's going to go lower. But I really don't think we're getting a lot of people retail selling right now. I think people who are still in this stock have been in for a while now and are holding. We're getting new buyers coming in. If anything, I think this downward action, for the most part, is just the manipulation. Just the people who are short the stock trying to drive it down and scare us out. But I don't feel like it's working. That's just my gut. I mean, obviously, there's no way of knowing that. Are you going to take profits when it squeezes or hold for the long term? Both. I mean, I don't know what if we're talking. Like I said, I think this stock is probably fundamentally. I'll even go with the high one for this. Fundamentally, right now should be somewhere around $35. So if we get to double of that, $70, $150, $200, $300, yeah, I'm gonna sell. When it seems like the squeeze has squoze, I'm gonna dump and hold on to that cash. And now when we drop back to that fundamental range of, $35, then I'm gonna buy back in, because I do believe in the company for the long haul. But I think anyone's got to take advantage of the squeeze, right? I mean, even if you planned on holding CLOV until, for the next 10 years, which I really do think is going to be a play. Like, this is a long-term stock. Um, I think you'd be crazy if Monday morning this is trading at $300 to not sell and then buy it when it falls back down off the squeeze. That at least, and that's my exact same plan. Even with GameStop, I believe in GameStop, and I do think that GameStop's going to be like a $400 stock. Down the road, 400 or $500. Maybe within the next 2 to 3 years, as they continue their expansion into e-commerce and just the gaming, trying to grasp more of the gaming market cap. And they've got the team in place to do it. I think that eventually they will. I think eventually they'll compete with Amazon in certain sectors the same way that Chewy did for the pet industry, competing with Amazon. I think that GameStop will eventually compete with Amazon in the gaming sector. And then also some interesting news on GameStop. Their website now shows future categories in toys. So, maybe they're going to start, not even maybe, it looks like they're going to start selling toys on their website as well. So as they kind of expand into e-commerce and I think the sectors that they get into, they're opening up fulfillment centers and all that. And this will be a company that competes with Amazon in certain things. Like, obviously, I just went on Amazon the other day to buy, some stuff for my boat. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do that on GameStop.com, but I think I will be able to do that in certain in other areas. Already you can go on GameStop and buy things cheaper than Amazon in terms of like, technology and electronics wise. They're starting to have TVs on there and everything else, computer monitors, and you could find stuff cheaper, and they're doing same day shipping. So I know I'm getting off on a rant now, but yeah, if GameStop explodes to the moon and all of a sudden I could sell my shares for, $1,000, $1,200, I'm going to take advantage of that and do it. And then when it dips back down to this $200 range, I'm probably going to get back in for the long haul. In my opinion, Tar Heel says, I haven't seen you all morning. I guess you said something earlier. Let's see. I think after we squeeze, we'll fall back to above fundamental levels. Just like, yeah, absolutely. But at that point, that's what I mean. I'll jump back in, right? So, it's if we get up there and we're able to sell this stock for $200, $300, and yeah, I'm gonna take profits. I'm gonna sell. I'm gonna take advantage of the squeeze. But then I'm gonna jump back in for the long haul. Selling CLOV and buying back in, shouldn't you wait until after 30 days because of taxes? You know what? I'm not an accountant by any means. I know that there is some benefits to like playing around like that, but I think if you buy back in before 30 days, I could be totally wrong on this. And somebody please correct me if I am. But my understanding is like, okay, let's just say you sell CLOV, and you make $100,000, right? Um, so if you don't buy back in within 30 days, and this is my understanding of it, then you're going to claim that as, a gain on your taxes at the end of the year. But if you buy back in at a lower dollar amount, it becomes a wash sale, and now you won't be claiming as much at the end of the year. That's my understanding of it. But I have a CPA that I talk to, and I just kind of like, whenever I need advice, I go to a professional for it. And do not take my advice at all on taxes. I'm telling full disclosure. I always rely on other people for that. But that's the way that I understand it. And I could be totally wrong. Soft Bunnies, what's up? Happy Friday. Yeah, let's get it. We got a hold for the family. Tar Heel's going to an appointment. Thanks for tuning in, bro. I appreciate it. I'll plug them one more time too. So Tar Heel today, Power Hour, and Wall Street Bet Degenerate, WSB Degenerate on Twitter. They're going to be doing Power Hour together. Stock Tales, it's Friday, so it's not just Power Hour with Tar Heel, it is Stock Tales. Please go check it out on his channel. Thanks for your opinion. My plan was to take profits from my options and hold shares on the long term. So that, I mean, I've been doing that even throughout this whole thing. Like I have shares now and I have long-term options that I'm not selling until we hit like some ridiculous number, like way up there. But, shorter term options, which actually I don't have any right now, but I have occasionally went in and bought some. And then when we get our nice pumps, like on that last pump up to 28, I got rid of my short term options because, you know, um, I think they were set to expire on the 18th of June or something like that. So I dumped those ones, but I held on to the long term ones. And then I even exercised I had some June 18th that were like $8 that I held, and I ended up exercising some of those. You don't get a tax break unless you hold for a year. Good morning, Coach. Good to hear your voice. What was your price entry for Clove? Let me see. Because I've been, doing this all over the place. I originally bought in on some options back here in April. When it dipped down to 6 is when I opened up, started getting long term, buying shares, buying, even leaps, stuff in that nature. And then when we when we ran up here and we started to dip down to about 17, that's when I got rid of my dry powder, thinking I was buying the dip. And then we continued to dip high, further. I think right now my average is somewhere, if I had to I did the math the other day, between all my long-term stuff, including my leaps, which I will exercise. Some of them are $8 strikes, and some of them are $10 strikes. But either way, I'm going to exercise all of them because that's not until 2022 and 2023. So, long story short, I think my average right now is somewhere around like 12 or 13. So, but again, I see this as a stock that's going to be trading at 20 to 30 in the near term without any sort of squeeze. Let's see here. Narwhal says great opportunity to lower the cost average. Keith, good morning. What's up? All right, so let me just take a look real quick. I'm going to go around. Just check it out. Stocks that aren't up here. So BNGO is down 1% on the day. Nothing major. AVXL up 2%. That is, we got AVXL down here right now. I'm expecting AVXL to go on a little bit of a run here. I'm just going to bring that up too. The daily chart on AVXL. This stock's been having a lot of great news to it. Really positive, some catalysts that came in dating back to like June 18th around there, and even before there when it started running up in early June. But it hit this high of 31 and started consolidating, and I really think that we're starting to trend back upwards, and it's got the positive momentum going back for it. Yesterday it had a big gainer while most stocks traded flat or down. Anyways, AVXL, I don't know why I started talking about that, but it's up 2% right now, currently trading at 26.24. ATOS is up 3% on the day, trading at 572. AMC is down 1%, nothing major. I think there's a lot of range in that stock right now. Also a lot of volume, so like we saw AMC yesterday down 10% and then go to up 10%. So volume on AMC right now on the day, let's see if I can pull that up, 20 million. I think that's kind of a low volume day for AMC, right? $143. Yeah, it looks like it's been traded. I guess that's kind of, yeah. Some of the bigger days that it's had, AMC trades somewhere, near half its float to its float. So like 200 million, 300 million. Their float's about 500 million. But more recently, 90 mil, 62 mil, 94. Yesterday we saw 143 million. So today, 20 million seems like kind of a low volume day for AMC. More so like what we saw back here in May before the big run up. So, and that's what happens with a lot of these squeeze plays. Again, I'm not in on AMC, but volume will dry up tremendously before the big pop. And same thing with CLOV. We've been seeing volume dry up recently. Real quick, what else? I didn't really get to all of them. So Gamestop down 1%, trading at 189. CLOV 0.5%, 932. The S&P 500 is back up today. We're not looking at all-time highs, but we're getting back up there. 434 up almost 1%, 0.72. And then space is down 5% on the day, trading $2.50 lower, right around $50.25. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be playing Virgin Galactic. If you're joining me late, I know I've been talking about it all week. I still think it's a strong play. I just I don't want to sell any of my other stocks to free up the capital, and I forgot and didn't transfer any money into my account to play it today. So I'm sitting this one out. I'll be on the bench for the Virgin Galactic one. Let's see. Co-creator. Seems the hedge funds and short sellers are having a harder time ladder attacking. The attack today was weak. The tension is palpable. I can almost feel the pressure wanting to push us up, up, up. Yeah, I mean, it's I do think that they're probably running low on firepower, right? I mean, because what happens is the reason I know we keep talking about this, but really what short sellers do is they come in, they attack the hell out of the stock. They just keep hitting the bids and just slamming through bids, all the way down and trying to get this stock lower, lower, lower. And then what they want to do is people who are holding to sell and get scared and say, oh man, I don't know why I ever bought this stock, and dump it. Because now that puts those shares into the market and it makes the stock go lower. So, when they come out with these attacks, if we hold and nobody sells, it's just their fake selling pressure that's driving the price down. Cost to borrow is high. They have to buy back. Now, when they buy back, the stock's going to rise. Or trade flat. It's going to short, short, short. We don't sell, so now they buy back, and they're just, we're just kind of seeing like this, what Tar Heel referred to yesterday as a barcode chart. It's just down, up, down, up, down, up like that. But basically, kind of in that range. And so if they keep hitting us, and we're not selling, at some point the holding is going to hold. We're holding the line. They're not going to be able to drive the price lower, and they're just going to be sitting on their hands. They run out of firepower. The cost to borrow is high right now, 26% on average, and at some point it costs us nothing to hold. Yeah, it might cost you some emotional stress to look at your portfolio and look at your balance and say, oh my God, I'm down this much on the week, or think about how much I was up a couple months ago, or whatever it might be. But it costs you nothing to hold. You're not getting charged interest on holding the stock, right? But who is? The short sellers. They're borrowing this stock from somebody else, and it's costing them an average of 26% right now. So co-creator said he thinks he had too much coffee. Bro, I either need to get a bigger coffee cup, using the Mickey Mouse. This is actually my wife's coffee cup, but I need to get a bigger coffee cup or put a coffee maker in here, because I usually drink way more coffee than this. And I've just been making like 1 cup a day and just drinking it throughout the stream. But usually by now, before I started doing this stream, I'd probably be on my 3rd cup right now. I just don't want to get up and leave you guys to get coffee. So I don't know if I got to put a little coffee maker in here, or what we're going to do. Clark says, say CLOV runs to 50. Will the shorts be forced to cover margin call, or can they hold the high prices hoping it will come down? I don't know how to really know that. Like, again, I'll go back to, because every short is different, right? So essentially, what a margin call is it depends on your position and where you got in at. Like, let's say you bought Clove on margin. If you bought Clove on margin right now, going long on it, you bought it at 6. You probably wouldn't get margin called until this thing dropped down to like maybe $4. You know, but if you went long on Clove at, you know, 18, you've probably already been margin called. You know, and that's us as retail. You might even get margin called on a 30% dip. Um, but it just works, you know, it's different for each hedge fund and how much lenders are willing to lend them, right? So how much capital they have to back it up and where they got in. You know, if somebody shorted this stock at 6 and never recovered, you know, they're probably in a world of hurt right now with looking at a 50% loss. But my speculation is on that last run up, maybe some people covered and others jumped on at 20, you know, or 20, 25 or 18. Maybe some piled in at 12. Maybe some are part of the original short that took us from 12 down to 6 back in like April-ish, around that time. So, you know, I think it really just depends on each individual institution or hedge fund and where their you know cost is on these, and then how much capital they have to back it up. You know, you might see some margin calls coming in if we get up to 50. I would imagine at that point at $50, not even imagine. If we get past 28, $30, anyone who short the stock is now in the negative for sure because, you know, there could be some that shorted at the top at 28. But it really depends with how much capital they have to back it up. Long story, even though I talked forever, long story short. Um, you know, my assumption, and I'll go back to GameStop too, just because this is a stock that I've been following. Um, you know, just do the big zoom out. This stock has gotten up to 350 twice, or I guess 3 times. The first time it crossed 350, you know, they lost control and the stock went up to 480 before they cheated and Robinhood pulled the plug on it, right? I mean, everyone's familiar with that. But the other 2 times that it got up to 350, it could not pass it. And I'm talking like intraday, got slammed down with like the biggest um, probably market manipulation I've ever seen, and just absolute share dump where it fell from 350, you know, down to 170, almost a 50% drop in a matter of minutes. They unloaded everything they could to not let this thing cross 350. My speculation is that GameStop past 350 is going to set off some margin calls this time around. And again, recently on June 8th, hit 350, and they slammed it down when it got to 350. They hammered the shit out of that stock again, and they did not want to let it cross 350. And this time they were only able to get it down to 282 intraday. Um, you know, and at the time I'm thinking, oh yeah, we got a new floor. You know, they can't get us below 3. They can't, but you know, as you can see, we're now trading at 190. But I guess what I'm getting at is my speculation here is that 350 is the magic number that's going to get some margin calls coming in on GameStop. And I'm sure there's a magic number for Clove. I just have no idea what it is. Um, yes, Evan, we went over that a little bit a little while ago. I lost the article, but basically they hired 2 executives, unless there's other good news too. But they hired 2 executives. We're talking about Clove right now. The news that came out today. Let me see. I actually read the article this morning before the market opened because I was reading it live as well. And I think I got one of my thumbs downs during that. So I don't know if people don't like me when I read or if they were bored or it was just somebody coming in here to give me a thumbs down. But basically, this is the article. Clove expanded their management team. They appointed Prabdeep Singh as the chief growth officer and Justin Joseph as the chief strategy and development officer. Both of these guys came from, you know, big companies. I think Palantir, Uber, to name a few. But you know, great. It seems like great hires, people that are going to help with the growth and expansion of this company. We've been talking about this for a while now. They just doubled their geographic footprint, and they're only in 201 counties across the United States. So a lot of room for growth with Clover Health, and that doesn't even include the Clover Assistant, AI technology that they have. So we're definitely, and then bringing in more people onto the, kind of the executive team that can help with that growth and expansion. That's why I say, like, I mean, this could be a $200, $300 stock down the road as it is. No squeeze involved. This is just a stock that you buy and hold. And, 200 counties out of the entire United States. Can you imagine when they're working in 1,000 counties, 10,000 counties, as they just continue to grow and expand. And then the whole Walmart thing recently with the offering of the grocery offering for customers. I think that's going to help them. It's going to help them grow. It's going to help them be seen as one of the major players. With the Medicare, and continue to get them to be able to pick up more contracts and pick up more managed lives. So I really think that and again, I'm saying all this, and we're not even getting into the AI side, which I really think is going to be a disruptor in the medical health industry. So let's see here. Let's see where we at. I lost this. Nolan says, I'm looking for non-meme stocks to buy calls on. Any ideas? I mean, the plays I've been in right now. Because I know you've been watching me for a while, but AVXL is one that I don't know if that's considered a meme. Um, Other than that, I can't really tell you because I haven't been watching much else. But I really like AVXL. I think it's going to get some movement here in the next month or so, maybe even sooner than that. Looking at the daily chart on it. I don't know I know it's not a meme stock, but I don't know what kind of hype it's been getting on Reddit. But I really like this chart, and I really think that this stock is ready to break out again. So, I would say maybe potentially an AVXL play, but I don't know if that's what you're looking for. Maybe if anybody else has some in the chat, they could throw them in there for Nolan. Looks like co-creator said jump in on Canopy marijuana stock. Jackie says it's a good day for PTRA. I'm not familiar with any of these stocks. Evan says TGT might be good before earnings. The only thing I'll say about earnings, if you're going to play calls on earnings, is this. As you approach, and I don't know anything about TGT or when the earnings are, but typically what happens with earnings is you get a lot of buildup beforehand, right? And then whether a company has good or bad earnings, the stock goes down. Sometimes it takes off and flies. But where I've been the most successful, especially with options before earnings, is like, get in well before. And as the stock rises pre-earnings, but make sure you sell those calls before earnings happens. Because usually, right after earnings, everybody else sells their calls too. And you'll get what's called an IV crush, right? I mean, we've talked about IV on here on this channel before, where, regardless of the stock price, there's also the Vega. And, the Vega is basically the IV and how much open interest there is. And that as that percentage goes up, the contract price goes up or down with the Vega and with the IV. And how it's directly correlated to it. So it's like, building up to earnings. Let's just say, for example, a stock's normal IV is 100, and then IV jumps up to 180 because earnings are right around the way. To me, sell before the earnings happen. Right? This is just what I like to do. And then, yeah, you might miss out on a potential big gainer if they are good. But typically, what happens is the day after the earnings, everybody sells off their calls. IV drops and diminishes, and then even if the stock goes up a little, you're going to lose so much in that IV crush that it's hard to make money on calls. Carrying them through earnings, I guess I should say. All right, yeah, I know I'm late on the chat, Evan. I saw that. That's like what we were just talking about, and then we talked about it earlier today too. But yeah, buy a Stanley thermos for the coffee. You know what? That wouldn't be bad either. Just get a big old mug, and then I could just like pour my own. That's actually a great idea. I just get up and make like a pot of coffee, throw it in there. Michael's a genius. I'm gonna get one, and I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna have it here on Monday morning when we go live. Um, let's see here. Trading activity is so strange on meme stocks / shorted stocks. They've got to know now that people are hip to their games, and they are so obvious. Too many of us that net will never sell. They got to be scared. Yeah, and that's where I think, like I said, I kind of feel like, Clove now is kind of in the big three with GameStop and AMC. And what I mean by that is, like Clove has the holders. We have people who are in this stock now who are willing to hold. And we're building up the community of holders. And that's what's really going to kill them and get the big plays. You're going to see, yeah, there's always going to be short squeezes. Always. I mean, there always has been and there always will be. But unless they really make some changes to the way that short selling works in the markets. But I guess what I'm getting at is, while you're sitting here holding your Clove, you'll be able to look and see that, every week there's a couple, new pumps and stocks that will go up and rise on a 2-day, 3-day span, and then they come crashing back down. But those are more pump and dumps, right? Those are more plays that you can make 100%, 200% in, and then the stock's going to fall back down. I think Clove, this is a play where we're looking, to make 2,000% in. You know what I mean? We're looking for those huge gains, and the way to get there is to not have the pump and dump mindset and to have that holding mindset, and that's what like co-creators saying here is going to make them scared, right? I mean, that's got to make them scared that Clove is becoming another GameStop or another AMC where people aren't just taking their profits and moving on. Ford is crushing it, looking for calls purchase. All right. I haven't been following Ford at all. I remember reading a lot of stuff on Reddit about Ford like 3 months ago, and a lot of people were like loading up on leaps, and I know it seems like they did pretty successful with it. Yeah, Dermot, I agree with you. When Clove does move and it finally takes off, I think we're going to see a bigger, stronger move than we did last time. And somebody I haven't really looked into it too much. As a matter of fact, I'll pull it up right now. But I did see a post on the sub the other day about how about the volume on Clove and how it had dried up before the last big move. But I didn't really look into it. So it looks like right before the last move, 7, 9, 7. There's a 38, 16, 9, 7, 5, 5, 8. So like, I guess they were saying something like, the volume right before then was pretty low, like 5 million-ish range, probably, at the lowest it had been before it started ramping up and really taking off, like we just saw. So I don't know. I haven't done enough research into that, but I think it had something to do with yesterday being yesterday was a 30 million day. I don't know. Oh, maybe that's what it was. 30 million volume before this. I don't know. I didn't really pay too much attention to it, and I don't really see any correlation there with the volume. So forget that little 10-second. Let's see here. AVXL is in pre-launch. Hey, for those of you that don't know, that's my boy Colin in the chat right there, the one that I keep referencing. So everybody let him know you want him to get on this stream with us one day and give us his and give us his input. Nolan says AVXL doesn't look heavily shorted. Well, Nolan, I didn't know you were looking for a squeeze play. I thought you said you wanted to get into a non-meme stock. Let's see. I'm gonna pull up the Ortex data on AVXL anyways real quick. God, I'm way behind on this chat right now. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta keep up on this. So AVXL says FDA approval could come any day based off of their recent PR data releases on Parkinson's disease, dementia, and Rett syndrome. Alzheimer's also in phase 2B out of 3 trial. See, I told you this guy drops knowledge. Mike, I got the thermos idea back in the day when I was instructing firefighting. Co-creator, firefighters are heroes, mad respect. Dermot says Clove is very, very different than AMC and GME. Yeah, I think all of these are. I think GME is even different than AMC. I mean, they're all different. They're all their own plays, and they all have different reasons why people are in them. TN says people go on Hot Trade Live. They hate Clove, so we got to educate that group. Clove is a great long-term play and short-term squeeze too. And yes, volume drying up with tighter price movement is very bullish for Clove. Yeah, I mean I've seen most of these big moves that we've seen, in the past with GameStop have come after volume had like dried up to like almost being like almost down to nothing. And then you just when the buying happens, it makes it way more explosive. Ross, what's up? What's going on? All right, I was gonna look up AVXL real quick just to see. I don't think AVXL is any sort of squeeze play at all. But for me, that's just more of a long term potential type play. Same thing with BNGO, and kind of playing off what they've got going right now. But why is it that I can't? Let's see here. Clove. AVXL. And then I'm going to pull up iBorrowDesk because someone said there was something different going on there. So AVXL, yeah, 11% free float on long, 11% short interest. Not a squeeze play at all, in my opinion. iBorrowDesk. Ooh, so a lot of covering going on there through Interactive Brokers. Cost to borrow is down. So 2.5 million basically, from earlier. I mean, we did have 2 million earlier today, but 2.5 million. So again, and anyone who's maybe just joining us, I also want you to pay attention to the Ortex numbers too. So Ortex is showing that 1.8 million were returned, but 3 million were borrowed. Net differential of 1.23. So short interest is still rising for the brokers that Ortex tracks. 1.2, and then you come over here to iBorrow and Interactive Brokers, whoever they are lending to, 2.5 million were returned. So nothing to get too overly excited about. This is one broker that has 2.5 million being returned to them, and Ortex is showing us that the brokers they're tracking are actually lending out more than they're receiving right now. So that's why it's good to kind of get the data from multiple sources. Because otherwise, if you just use iBorrow as an indicator, you would think that the squeeze is ending. Let's see. I want to see a live debate of Clove versus non-Clove believers. LOL. Thanks, Coach. You know what? That would be fun. I was talking to a buddy of mine who's really big in AMC about that. And the only reason I didn't want to do it, because he was like, man, I'll come on there and we could debate AMC versus Clove and all that stuff, is like, the only reason I wouldn't want to do it is because, and maybe I will, I don't know, but I'm not hating on AMC. And I know a lot of people that watch this channel are in AMC and Clove, and it's like, shit, I hope AMC blows up so that, they can make money, my boy can make money, and then, maybe they'll come throw some money in Clove. And I wouldn't, I don't know. I mean, I guess from I can see how it could be strong and be good, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to come off like a hater. Like I'm in GameStop and Clove, you know, but I do think that Clove has the greatest long-term potential investment right now than any of these, and that's why I think it's the greatest entry point. But I think that would be fun to do some sort of debate. You know, maybe if it was like with the Clove hater and not so much, you know, like a Clove versus AMC or a Clove versus GameStop type of deal, because I think that a lot of people are in both, you know. But then at the same time, I would sit here and argue the merits of Clove, even versus GameStop. I do think that this is a better entry point play. I think this has more long term potential. I think it's got great speculative growth. I do see the potential growth in GameStop, and I do believe that when GameStop's pivot actually happens and continues to go, this is going to be a $500 stock. But that's only what 2.5 times what it's trading at right now. You know, Clove right now, potentially just on fundamentals without any speculative growth, should be trading at 3 times what it's at right now. So I definitely think that the potential in Clove right now as a long-term investment is way better than any of these other plays. My price target on Clove, non-squeeze, short term, I would say $30, but I'm not going to sell there. I think you know, in the long haul, it just depends on their expansion, right? It depends how they continue to expand. I mean, right now, 200 counties. You know, let's say by the end of the year, they're in, you know, 500 or 1,000 counties. I mean, that's just going to keep changing it. But I think that's why this is a great long-term investment. You know, this is one where once the squeeze is over, you just put this one away and lock it up, and maybe you come back and look at it once a month to see how it's doing. But you know, this is a stock that could end up, you know, making you millions without the squeeze as you continue to just buy and accumulate it over time. Um, can you check SPCE? I got yeah. 55 calls, 55 strike, or 55 calls. What's your strike price? Just out of curiosity. All the meme stocks are brothers and sisters, hoping we all go to the moon. Yeah, I'm with that too. I've said that many times. Like, I really think that, you know, depending on which one squeezes first, everything's going to squeeze. And we've seen that before. When AMC went on that major run to 73, it had a ripple effect throughout the entire market and ended up helping all the stocks out. Um, you know, and GameStop, you know, was leading the forefront the first time around. And I just think that it applies pressure on these short sellers, right? So if someone is heavily into multiple stocks, shorting multiple stocks, as soon as one of them takes off and, you know, margin calls start and people need to start liquidating their positions, well, liquidating your position means buying back your Clove shares too, and buying back your AMC shares and buying them all back. And that's just going to be beneficial. So I think when one kicks off, it's going to kind of have a chain reaction effect across the market because a lot of these short sellers are heavy into multiple stocks. Absolutely. Co-creators dropping knowledge this morning. Happy to take the Clove ride with all who are on board. Colin says he's ready to jump on and present some DD about AVXL and practicing in the mirror. Even just jumping on live one day and just shooting the shit. We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk afterwards. We could do some DD, but I just come on and kick it like Tar Heel's been doing on Mondays. We could even just talk about sports, and then just drop a little knowledge about AVXL. I got to tell you guys too, just, you know, it is fun, especially with the morning one, especially on Monday mornings. You know, just waking up when Tar Heel comes in here, it kind of helps me, you know, because sometimes my brain isn't working that well, especially, you know, when I'm just getting back from a vacation or a rough weekend. You guys are going to see a nice sunburn on Monday too, because I'm going camping this weekend. I think it's supposed to hit as high as like 100. And I'm going to look right now just to see where we're at. So the place we're going camping at is supposed to be five degrees hotter than where I live. And where I live right now says it's going to be 108 tomorrow. So I don't know. I'm probably going to be living in the water at the lake. See what happens. Do a rundown on the options chain. Let's see here. Oh, AVXL. Okay. Yeah, let me do it too because I do have to leave in 13 minutes. You know, because like I gotta go load up the truck and we're gonna be out there, you know, do some camping and stuff. So yeah, I'll pull up the options chain. And then I don't think I ever looked at ATOS's options. Just for that gamma squeeze play to make sure that it was still active after yesterday's volume came in. And yes, even more increase here, 60,000, 58,000, 41. So the ATOS gamma squeeze play is still live. I'm going to pull up AVXL, just looking at from a long-term perspective is what I would say. You know, August 20th, if you wanted to go short-term, I would say August 20th. I think that's what I'm holding right now is, yeah, 820s. But, you know, based on, you know, I think the stock is trending upwards. August gives you, you know, basically a month out. And, I mean, if you wanted to go past that, let's see how expensive. We'll see how August looks and then how October looks. But, you know, stocks trading at, let's see here. We're at 27 right now. I mean, at the money for 350 is, you know, pricing you at $30.50 at the end. Not a lot of open interest on AVXL though, so you're not really playing, at least from what I've seen. And I haven't seen a lot of open interest even before when I've played options on this. But you're playing strictly off stock movement, no sort of gamma squeeze plays or anything like that. But you know, if you wanted to go cheap, you could probably get in this $40 call range, somewhere around 75 cents. I'd set a limit order at 75, and maybe even this 45 somewhere at like 50 cents. So $50 contract, you know, for $45 strike, or maybe you can get a $75 contract here at the $40 strike. And, you know, just the way you got to play this is really pay attention to your expiration date. You know, and as if the stock, let's say, continues to rip upwards of, let's see here. That's if you're looking for cheap options. You know, as the stock rips up and really passes $31, then you're going to be looking to sell, you know, because you don't want to hold these into expiration if you go way out of the money. If you want to put in a little bit more money and play it a little bit safer, I would say try to buy right around at the money, you know, for like August. And I'm almost positive, you know, my gut tells me you'll be trading above $30 by then, a month from now, especially with the potential for catalysts. And then you'd be able to hold them longer into expiration. If we go further out to the October, a little bit more open interest out there gives you way more time, almost 100 days. But again, you're going to be paying more. This isn't that much though. If you look at the $45 strike, like if you just wanted to get way out here on it and go cheaper, I'd imagine you could probably get filled on that for about $1.75, maybe $2. So $200 contract. Yeah, it's $45. It's double where we're at right now. But I could see this stock getting there by then. And you wouldn't have to worry about selling it as fast. You could kind of let it hold and mature and let the stock go up. Again, though, so if you buy at the money here, you're going to be spending a little bit more, and you're going to have to get to a further amount. You're going to have to get to 32. If you wanted to go with the safer play for October, I would possibly look deeper in the money, you know, and maybe, you know, getting back to that $30 range. Maybe go with the $24 strike. You know, you buy somewhere in here. And again, you know, buying 100 shares right now puts you at $2,700. Or yeah, is that right? Yeah, $2,700. or you can come in and probably grab 3 of these contracts and get the price action of 300 shares as opposed to one. You know, and getting deeper in the money in here. But as a gamble type play, I would go August 20th. Just looking at this, I would go August 20th and try to come out here at like the 40. What did I click on? Still getting used to Weeble, guys. All right, there we go. I guess I'm trying to sell something right now. I don't even have money in my Weeble account right now. I am gonna work on that though. All right. So yeah, I mean that would probably be my play. God, let me just move this out of the way and I'll figure it out later. All right. Let's go back to here and check this out before I leave because I do gotta leave in about 8 minutes. Yeah, 108 degrees, and I guess it's gonna be hotter there. We're gonna be up near like Chico. If anyone's familiar with Northern California, is where we're going today. And it's supposed to be hotter there than it is here. And they just issued a heat warning here for 108 degrees. So I don't know what to expect when we get out there camping, except for you know, hydration and you know, trying to keep cool in the water. Yeah, I will for sure. It says, can you cover what you watch for when you get ready to sell calls prior to expiration? I think when you're, and I'll just real quick, when you're out of the money on a call, you know, so like for instance, when I was talking about grabbing a $45 call for a stock that's trading at 27, you're looking for price movement, right? So, um, you know, you don't want to just hold on for dear life and wait to be in the money. You want to wait. You want to see that stock. If the stock goes on a big run, you're just that call is going to increase tremendously. The premium is on that options contract, and you just want to dump it while it's still out of the money. You know, well before expiration, because the closer you get to expiration with the out of the money call, the faster your call is going to, you know, start burning up and go to zero. Um, I live in Victorville. Victorville's out in the valley, right? That's out near more Southern California, right outside of like Corona, if I'm not mistaken. Our football team played Corona Centennial twice a couple years ago, and we went down there and stayed down in Corona. And I want to say Victorville's out there, like out in the desert, Southern California area. I could be completely wrong though. Let me know if I am. I'm sure it's hot as hell out there too. All right, so just looking at the markets before I take off, and also before I even do that, I want to pay. I want to make this announcement before you know anybody signs off. Two things. One, Sunday evening, 4 o'clock on the West Coast, 7 on the East Coast. We are doing the another Clove roundtable. This time with Tar Heel, Dutch Trades, Al Trades, and there might be one other guest. We're trying to figure that out right now. But that's going to be Sunday evening. So if you could jump on, we're going to be talking about Clove, trying to promote the Clove subreddit. And there's a link. I made a video yesterday where I put the link to where you could submit questions to be answered on that event on Sunday night. So check it out. Go on to the video that I made last night, and the link's in there. You can go on there and actually ask questions in the subreddit, and then the mods are going to kind of go through and pick out the best questions, and then we're going to kind of divvy up the questions and have a round table between myself and the other 3 or 4 guests that'll be on there. So that'll be Sunday evening, and you'll be able to watch it even if you can't make it live. You'll be able to watch it afterwards. But you know, by all means, check that out. The other thing I wanted to mention is today, Tar Heels doing stock tails. So it's during power hour. That's, you know, for you guys on the West Coast, that'll be from 12 to 1. I'm sure they'll end up staying on later because he's going to have a special guest on there, WSB Degenerate, kind of a big Twitter guy, and really been posting a lot of great stuff about and DD in the subreddit and on Twitter about Clove. So that's definitely going to be one that I'm mad I'm missing out on. If I was going to be at home, I would have tried to jump in there and just have a couple cocktails with them and third wheel it. But I don't even know if I'm going to have service, so I might be rewatching that one later on. But I think that's definitely going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you bring a couple drinks with you, you know, and should be a good way to kind of wrap up this red week. Also, make sure you go support the other Clove YouTubers, Dutch Trades, Al Trades, Sean Stocks. Also, Target Short Sellers is another guy. He's overseas. I want to say he's in Europe, Belgium, I think, covering Clove stock as well. So make sure you go, and Tar Heel Blue. Go subscribe to everybody and like their videos. Like all the Clove videos, and that's going to bring more awareness to Clove. It's going to keep those videos rolling in the algorithms. All right, just looking around real quick. So BNGO currently up 1.3%, trading at 665. AVXL is up 4.7%, 26.96. BNGO looks like it's ripping right now too. I'm just going to pull that up for you guys. So it just broke out of the high of the day. Would love to see it break this high of pre-market and maybe continue to run. I really want to see BNGO getting that back in that $7 to $8 range sometime soon. AVXL is also breaking the high of the day right now, hitting some resistance at 27. But, I mean, it's definitely trending upwards right now. A lot of big things, I think, coming for this stock. ATOS, I already have that one pulled up. Here, I'll just checking all the stocks we're looking at. So AMC trading downwards right now, maybe looking that it found a bottom. Down 3% on the day, 46.55. And what else are we following? My FOMO play of space, which I never got in on, and I'm probably not going to, which means the launch is going to be successful, and everybody who bought those calls I talked about yesterday is going to make a ton of money, and I'm going to be sitting here crying. But I'm not going to buy the space play. Like I said, I'm not going to sell anything else I have going right now to get in on it. But I do think that this could be a strong play at the money, at least, just buy a call or two at the money. And if the launch is successful, I could see this thing absolutely ripping the face off of, on Monday and running upwards of 60, 70, 80 bucks like it has been every time they got good news. But a lot of inherent risk, because if it doesn't happen, this thing is going to fall, and it's going to fall hard. And that's why I say, maybe buy a couple calls and just, know that you're taking a big gamble. But space is down 4.3%, trading at 50.41. ATOS trading flat again. It looks like it's getting pinned at 550 2 days in a row. And if you look at the I always do that. ATO. It's ATOS. If you look at the options chain on this thing, 550 is a strike price, right? 21,000 calls versus 6,800 puts, and I really think they don't want us to get. I know they don't want us to get to the $6 mark, where we now have a net differential of 26,000 calls on 100 million float stock, which is just going to push it closer to 750, where we now have 52,000 differential in calls on 100 million float stock. So I'm really excited about this gamma squeeze for next week. Kind of some sideways trading right now, staying in this 550 range. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with ATOS next week. GME down 1% on the day, trading at 189.50. And Clove, we're green. I see green on my screen. Hasn't happened in a while. We're up 0.5% right now. We busted through VWAP. And with my luck, you know what's going to happen? I'm going to be on a 3-hour drive up to Chico, and the stock is just going to start going absolutely ape shit, and be hitting the highs at $12, $13, and I'm not even going to have service. So, my bad luck is going to be your good luck. So everybody, get ready for a wild ride. You guys are going to be celebrating with Tar Heel later on. Yeah, hopefully the line. I know, Sean. I'm not trying to throw no negative. I want to see space succeed. I really do. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, and not only is there people in there, but Richard Branson's going to be in there. Everything I know about Northern California, I learned from Sons of Anarchy. All right, co-creator. Thank you. You have a good weekend too. Target short seller. I knew you were in Belgium. All right, I really got to go. I'm gonna look at these last two. Really love the volume uptrend on Clove. This could get explosive next week. Chef Daddy, I'll see you later. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Please come check us out on Sunday night for the Clove Roundtable, 4 o'clock. And if you can't make it, I'll be back Monday morning, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. See you guys later. Have a great week. Good luck in whatever stocks you're in. And if you did get in on space, let's pray for and because there's people in that rocket, let's pray for a successful test launch for Virgin Galactic. All right, I'll see you guys later. Have a good weekend.